Hey, check this out. For the best in live music Cleveland has to offer, check out Live from Cleveland every Thursday from 10 to 11 p.m. We've been around for over 20 years and we're only getting better. That's this Thursday from 10 to 11 on WRUW 91.1.
And tonight on Live from Cleveland, we've got a special takeover. Stay tuned. Sea Level is going to be on next, hosting their own version of this awesome show.
You really think I ought to swear? Yes, definitely. God damn it, George, swear.
Warning, some of the following material may be objectionable by members of the listening audience. Therefore, listener discretion is strongly advised.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Are you a dog lover? City Dogs Cleveland needs you. City Dogs is an adoption and volunteer program that has a passion for helping our city's dogs. Cleveland Animal Care and Control houses the homeless dogs, but volunteers walk them, raise funds for supplies and medical care, prepare them for adoption, and more. City Dogs is looking for volunteers who can give their time and talents to walking dogs, helping with enrichment activities, spreading the word, and loving these homeless pups until they find their forever homes. More information about volunteering and adoption can be found on City Dogs' social media pages like facebook.com/City Dogs Cleveland. That's facebook.com/City Dogs Cleveland.
Rescue me, take me in your arms, rescue me, I want your tender charm.
Warning, some of the following material may be found awesome by some members of the listening audience. Therefore, WRUW recommends listener attention.
All right, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to Live from Cleveland tonight. This is Rachel H., trusty host. Hey, I gave everybody else the week off because I said, folks, my friend Dave from Sea Level is going to hook us up. They have a whole show planned out for you tonight, him and Coda from the band Sea Level. They talk to some pretty awesome people, one of which is Ryan from Songs of an Unknown God. You might remember him from a couple weeks back here in Live from Cleveland. But they also talked to Pete Francis from the band Dispatch, because they just recorded a brand new single with that group, and they're going to be playing a show in support of that brand new single over at the Winchester, and that is going to be coming up here on, I believe, June 13th. I'm not even going to tell you that much about it because I think these guys do the best job ever of interviewing Pete, talking to Ryan, playing their new track, and promoting that show a little bit, giving you a little bit more information about what you can look forward to coming on up. So I'm going to throw it over to Dave and Coda, who have so lovingly created this awesome version of their podcast for us to play live on the radio. It's a little bit of a produced version of Zig at the Gig, which is what Dave calls his regular show. I know he'll give you a little more info about where you can stream that coming up next, but if you would like to listen to all of his episodes, because he talks to a lot of really, really cool people, a lot of Sea Level collaborators, as well as people that they've kind of opened up for in the past. They are online, zigatthegig.podbean.com is where you can find more information about this podcast. And they're also on Instagram as well, at Zig at the Gig, but he's talked to a lot of really cool people, so I'm going to let him do the honors. Thank you so much, Dave and Coda, for presenting this special edition of Live from Cleveland tonight. I'm looking forward to maybe presenting more Zigs at the Gigs on Live from Cleveland for this special collaboration. Hey, if you are streaming in your car and you're just getting home, or you're considering listening back to this later on, we're also going to have this episode available on our YouTube, youtube.com/WRUW-FM, for you listen back to in perpetuity as well. That is another great place that you can listen and or watch all of our Live from Cleveland episodes, youtube.com/WRUW-FM. All right, without further ado, here's Dave and Coda on Live from Cleveland.
Hey, it's Zig.
And Coda from the band Sea Level.
You're listening to the first ever live broadcast of the Zig at the Gig podcast here on Live from Cleveland 91.1 WRUW.
That's right, we're taking over the airwaves for the night to tell you about our new single, Long-Legged Fly, coming out next Friday, June 13th. Features Pete Francis from the legendary band Dispatch.
That's right, June 13th, we're celebrating that at the Winchester, and tonight's program is going to be a preview of what you would see that evening.
That's right, so we're going to play you some chunks from interviews that we've done on the Zig at the Gig podcast with all of the musicians, and some song clips from each musician too. So without further ado, here is Mission from Dispatch. WRUW 91.1 Cleveland.
Let it be known to all your misbelieving, what you've been seeing, that we will not stand, no, will not be mistaken. We will go there, leave this weakness, you can't take this from me. Oh yeah, we will go there, leave this weakness, 'cause you know I have been waiting. No, we are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission to be so well. Oh well, the way I see. Down that there'll be no talk of turning back, yeah. Damn it, damn that there'll be no talk. We will fly sometimes. We will find our own way. We will fly sometimes. We will find our own. Mission low, we are not so. We on a mission low, we are not so. We on a mission low, we are not so. We on a mission to be so well. Oh well, the way I see that we are not so. We are not given. We are not sold on what we have seen. We are not sold. We are not given. We are not sold on what we have seen. Gone, goodbye, we ain't never coming back now. Oh, we're gone, we're gone. The list is long, we are many strong. The ceilings are coming down. No, we are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission low. We are not so. We on a mission.
Hey, it's Zig.
And Coda.
You just heard Mission from the band Dispatch and
Cleanest Hands from our band Sea Level. Later in the program, you'll hear the debut of our new single, Long-Legged Fly, which features Pete Francis from Dispatch.
That's right. Pete and Dispatch have been a huge influence on Coda and I, especially during the early years of Sea Level. It's an honor to be putting out a track with Pete, but it's even crazier that June 13th, we're going to be sharing the stage with Pete. We're going to warm it up for him at first by opening.
And we'll be sharing the stage backing him as his band for the night. That's right. So it's a dream come true to share the stage with one of our musical heroes and get to be his backing band. And also on the bill, we have Broctopus.
And we have Songs for an Unknown God featuring our dear friend Ryan. And just like Coda and I, we're putting out a new single and sharing some new tunes. Ryan is as well. He gave us a new tune to share with you, dear listeners.
That's right. So we're going to share the debut of his new single, Have You Noticed? And then after that, you'll hear a chunk from our interview on Zig at the Gig with Ryan. So without any further ado, here is the debut of Songs for an Unknown God, Have You Noticed? On Live from Cleveland, WRUW 91.1 FM.
Have you noticed the trees in bloom? The sky, it's a sunny blue, and I'm still in love with you. The cuckoos are singing, saying, everybody wake up now. They see us nearby, hand in hand, and watch as we pass through. I never thought that I would find you. When I did, I knew our love would come on strong. A sudden urge to remind you that you're still the one who carries my heart. And although you may see, I'll ask you anyway, have you noticed the velvet moon? The nighttime veil is a galaxy shoe, and I'm still in love with you. I never thought that I would find you. When I did, I knew our love would come on strong. A sudden urge to remind you that you're still the one who carries my heart. And although you may see, I'll ask you anyway, have you noticed the trees in bloom? The sky, it's a sunny blue, and I'm still, oh, I'm still in love with you.
Was that?
Honestly, I remember I met you, and at that time I was like a developing and aspiring like lead guitarist, and I was into Jimi Hendrix and the Stevie Ray Vaughan and thing, and you know, all that cool stuff. Right. Yeah, you know, I was pretty green at that time. Like I didn't really know anybody in the scene, and I was trying to just meet people, and you really welcomed me, you know, very kindly, you know, that night, and you made me feel totally welcome. And I definitely met a few others that night, but I ended up having a good time. I remember one song in particular I jammed on, "Feeling All Right." And
that checks out for that venue.
Yeah,
yep.
The C7 F chord, you know.
Yeah,
it was like, that's like, you know, and I had some little solos, but again, because I was so I didn't have the confidence I do now, you know, in my playing. I definitely stuttered a bit, and but it was okay. Nobody was really paying attention, and it didn't really matter that much. Everybody was just having a good time. So I will never forget that. But like, you know, what am I going to do? Like, okay, well, why don't I just do the most simple stuff that I can possibly make? And that translated into acoustic guitar and just a voice. And probably the very first song that broke that barrier for me that I wrote was There's a Storm Coming. And after I wrote that song, it took me like probably a year and a half to write that song, like in 2022 to like 2023 or something. And I was like, man, I just opened up the floodgates to like, you know, Pandora's box, like the floodgates. And then I opened the box. So, it was really, really, you know, inspiring. Also at that time, I was like, man, I want to like, I don't have time to like rehearse or like get a band. I don't have time to like, you know, meet with people. Like, I'm just going to try and do this all myself. And so I kind of used 100 Miles as like a beta test to like, hey, can I write more songs by myself? Can I, you know, record them by myself? Like, can I do all these things, you know? And I slowly and surely started, you know, knocking off the miles or you know, the milestones and just like trudging forward. And eventually I like had a full album and it was like, wow, this is sweet. I did this all myself. Like, I kind of like that control, you know, of like not having to like deal with anybody but myself, you know, as hasty as it like as bad as that sounds. I think at that point in my musical journey, I really just wanted that control, you know? And so it worked out, you know, it could be better. Like the album, like it could have been, I could have went to like a studio and, you know, recorded it, but really it was extremely minimalist. And I value that, you know, that ethos for this album. Because it was what I could do on my own. Like, I also didn't have the money to like kind of do like all these other things like most bands can do and whatnot. But in doing so, I was able to just continuously stretch my confidence out, you know, as an acoustic singer-songwriter, a vocalist even now, you know, like bit by bit, like, wow, I feel comfortable playing this live. Like, people aren't like not paying attention to me, but, you know, like they're like, you know, it's like they're not like completely apathetic towards me, but they're like somewhat listening. They might listen to 3 songs and then go out and smoke a cigarette or something, whatever. Like, that's 3 songs.
In the bar world, that's a win, right? If they're because if you're bombing, they'll let you know. And if you're doing fine, they ignore you. You're like, I'm in the ether of, I guess, winning.
Blackbirds are bullet holes scattered across the sky. I wander these steep hills into the gray light. My fingers collapse around my pen like soldiers trying to hold up the flag. I'm calling out once again in this letter to you, my friend. In this letter to you, my friend. In this letter to you, my friend. Don't tell me you've been coming up easy. Stop, drop, your life is greasy. You used to say that you would come around, but you're never here. You have been up above, so high, so high, so high, and lived in the dirt. You have felt some love, and you have been hurt. Well, I've gone to shorten my road with a fistful of matches, but nothing to strike. And as we walk along the cove, you know that this is right. Well, you may think I'm crazy, you may think I'm foolish, but I'm coming through the lightning, coming back to you. Don't tell me you've been coming up easy. Stop, drop, life is greasy. You used to say that you would come around, but you're never here. You have been up above, so high, so high, so high, and lived in the dirt. You have felt some love, and you have been hurt. Oh my, 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 well, I'm feeling fine. Oh my, 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 well, I'm coming through. Oh my, 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 oh my, 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 yes. You have been up above, so high, so high, so high, and live in the dirt. You have felt some love, and you have been hurt. In the dirt, oh, you have felt, and you have felt some love, oh, some love, and you have been hurt, you have been up above. I stick loneliness, your lips, and the 2 coins of your eyes into my pockets. Yeah, well, the train skates into Port Henry, a late Sunday. Alright. Sometimes when I'm riding high, feeling fine, you know there's something troubling, yeah, troubling my mind. So I reach into my pocket for some small change. I reach into my pocket for some small change. I want bones like iron, blood like mercury, so I can tell you when I'm rising, when I'm sinking in. I'm sinking in. I'm sinking in. I'm sinking in. I reach into my pocket for some small change. I reach into my pocket for some small change, yeah. We're gonna take it to the people. Yeah, 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 hey, let's drink from the cup and share some luck. Go ahead and laugh, cause it don't cost much. No, no, don't cost much. I stick loneliness, your lips, and the 2 coins of your eyes into my pockets. Yeah, I'll stick loneliness, your lips, and the 2 coins of your eyes into my pockets. Yeah.
And in that year, I met Brad and Chad separately.
Right, with you were in separate bands with them, right?
Yeah, so Brad and I, that's the thing. I think one part that you should, maybe know about me is that I've always been willing to go up to people and say, do you want to try this? Do you want to do this? And I played a guitar okay. And I didn't even know that many cover songs, but I have a few of my songs. And I thought, I'm going to go to this guy, Brad, who I just met. And this was in maybe January of 1995. And I went over to his dorm room. He was 2 years older than me. I just said, I have a song. I said, you want to hear it? And he said, sure. And then a few people that heard it and then heard him and me singing came into the room. And we sang, and I have to tell you, man, it was really beautiful because the 2 voices together. And I think it's important for people to know, and many may know, that, Brad has sort of an innate understanding of harmony that is kind of like no one I've met. He just, I don't know, he doesn't even think about it. He could sing beautiful harmonies, and that was that night. And I think we became friends. And then the other time was that Chad, he was a Feb, and that means that the students arrive in February. He spent the fall in Zimbabwe. So he was 18 in Zimbabwe. And here was this guy who came. I didn't know many kids that would do dreadlocks and the hair, and they, he had his own thing going. He wore blue overalls. He rarely wore shoes, and his acoustic guitar had 4 strings on it, and it wasn't really in tune. But he and I became good friends. And the story with sort of One Fell Swoop, and before that we had the name Wood River Bandits. We even had the name Silas. Yeah, Brad was a little bit hesitant to play with Chad, and I think the 3 of us as people pretty different. But I think I pushed for it, and I said, "Hey, why don't we try to be a band?" And we went one night down to the concert hall. Middlebury has a beautiful concert hall, beautiful. And back then, you could sneak in, and we knew how to click the door open to get into the concert hall.
That's so punk rock.
We went into with our 2 or 3 acoustic guitars and played. I think we all realized that night that when the 3 voices came together, it was very special.
Hey, it's Zig.
And Coda.
You just heard 2 coins from the band Dispatch, and before that, you heard a chunk of an interview I did with Pete Francis from the band Dispatch off the Zig at the Gig podcast.
That's right, and up next, we're going to hear another podcast from our conversation with our friend Steve Short from the band Broctopus, who's on the bill next week at the Winchester. Steve is a big Dispatch fan, so you'll hear him talk about that in the podcast chunk. But before we hear that, here is Fly to the Moon from Broctopus live from Cleveland on WRUW 91.1 FM.
You're feeling frisky, so you across the room. Got that look in your eyes, baby. We'll take care of that soon. getting down and dirty. But I forgot to clean up my room. Show me what you got. You're back on top. I'm wondering, who are you? Fly, fly, fly to the moon. 200,000 miles of ocean orbit soon. Fly, fly, fly to the moon. 200,000 miles of ocean orbit soon. Fly, fly to the moon.
Yeah. So
Lakewood, Ohio.
So that's how.
Hell yeah.
That's how me and Steve first connected. Was I was playing in a band called Wanyama, and Steve was playing in a band called Stationary Pebbles, and I remember them covering. I remember Steve covering a Dispatch tune. So when flash
Yeah, it
forward
was-
years later, when the Pete gig came, Steve was the first person I thought of. So kind of tell us about how you got into Dispatch and how they came onto your radar.
So, oh shit. So, yeah, a couple people that I graduated with in high school would play like "Hey Hey," like that was just part of their like acoustic like set. So that was really
That's
the
a hard,
first
hard
like
one to play. Like the harmonies are nuts in that one.
Yeah, that's a deep cut too.
yeah. So like my intro to Dispatch was just like a deep cut off their first album. And then like a couple years passed and one of my other buddies showed me like the General and like a couple of the bigger ones. And then at that point I was like, all right. And then I really started digging into their discography and like the Silent Steeples, Who Are We Living For, and Bang Bang, like the trio of those three albums, like from pretty much like 18 until now have just been nonstop on rotation. And then when they came back, like from being broke up, like a year before the Pebbles started, me and a couple of the dudes that I started that band with, we drove out to New Jersey to see Dispatch. It was like their fourth show back after like being broken up for like a decade pretty much. And that kind of started the inspiration to start talking about starting a band.
Huh. So that kind of like that trip kind of sparked the group.
Yeah, for sure. And like going to festivals like over the next year or so, there was about a year in between that Dispatch show and starting the Pebbles. But like that was definitely the beginning of like knowing that we all kind of wanted to start something.
Was that your first group, or did you have like a garage band or anything before that?
Yeah, the band I was in high school. But after high school, I left that band because like I went to school at Youngstown. The singer went to school out in Columbus. So we just weren't really able to keep it together. But after the Pebbles started, that band actually kept going for a while. So we were just kind of like running alongside each other, but I was also like kind of just chilling out more in my musical tastes. So I was way more into like the jam thing than the metal thing at that point.
That was a heavier band then?
Yeah, we played like Iron Maiden. It wasn't like super heavy.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that. I wasn't piecing. I jumped out of the timeline, and now I'm piecing the timelines back together.
Yeah, for sure. I'm moving all over the place, man.
No, that was us. Yeah, that was us. So cool. So the first time, I don't know when the Pebbles started, but I believe the first time I met you when we were first playing together would have been probably 2015, maybe.
Yeah, so that would have been like 2.5 or like 3 years into the Pebbles. We started in like 2012.
Cool. So yeah, I remember meeting you. It was Club Cafe, and I can't remember what Dispatch song it was, but I want to say it was.
It was probably Time Served.
That sounds right. It was some kind of deep cut. It wasn't like a bang bang or something. It was semi of a deep cut. Yeah, so that might have been it.
Yeah, we used to play Time Served all the time, and then we played like Lightning sometimes, but I don't think we busted out Lightning at Club Cafe.
That's one we've been working on for the Pete set.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Dude, when I do solo acoustic shows, I swear to God, I turn into like a Dispatch cover project for like half of my acoustic sets.
So does Dave, yeah.
Fields that maybe that aren't as creative or self kind of driven in a way don't get the experience, and I think they're beyond valuable.
I agree. I think it's something to, talk amongst musicians about, and it's not something really monetized. I mean, I guess in some sense, but in the sense of talking to other musicians or talking to kids, and I feel like when I'm doing my best work, I think that's happening. When Dispatch was doing Dispatch's best work, I think that was happening. You guys are feeling it now with this new material. And that's where it's at, and that's where let's come back to that,
Yeah.
Totally. It makes me think of a story that I did want to tell you sort of towards the end of this wanted to tell you the story of the first time I heard Long-Legged Fly. So we kind of touched on it earlier, and we're just now talking about it, this musical fulfillment. So, and Dave's done a good job of keeping it nice and profesh in these conversations, but I'm going to gush for a second and just kind of let it flow. That Dispatch was one of, if not the biggest influences on us starting the band. I vividly remember riding in the van when I was like maybe 13 or something with Dave, and him showing me Dispatch and saying, this is like my favorite band right now. And when you're a teenager, you have these phases where like, this is your favorite band, then this band. When he showed me Dispatch, he said, this is my favorite band right now. And I remember his ringtone was Steeples for years. For years, that was his ringtone. And so like, this was before we started Sea Level. So when we started Sea Level, one of the big influences we took from being a three-piece and you guys being a three-piece was this sense of individuality that, like, you guys each had your own voice. And in the early days of Sea Level, that was something that was really important to us. And so, like I'm saying, you guys were one of the biggest influences on us starting the band when we first, like, started off. And so, flash forward years later when we're working on this song, Long-Legged Fly, with you, and like Dave said, you were one of the first person we reached out in this process of these collaborations. And whenever we do these collaborations, there's always this moment where like Dave calls me like, I got it. I got the track. I'm coming over. We're going to listen to it. And so that first time when I heard Long-Legged Fly, I was at my grandma's house, and I don't think she was quite on hospice yet, but she was in her final battles of life, going towards that phase, and I was over there spending time with her, and Dave came over and pulled up in the van, and I came out and sat in the van, and he played me the track, and be honest with you, I teared up. Like, I cried because it was this full circle moment. I had this, everything in life is cyclical, comes in cycles, and I just felt this loop closing of like, wow. I immediately remembered, dude, you showed me Dispatch in the van. We're in the van listening, to us playing with them, and it was like the biggest sense of fulfillment that we and Dave talk about. Like, you can't get this sense of fulfillment from a big gig playing to a big crowd or we don't do it for some big fat check or, you know what I mean? All the accolades you could possibly get from music. You can't get this sense of fulfillment from anywhere else, from being inspired by someone to want to do something to later in life working with them on that. It gives you this like full circle fulfillment. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing that with us and doing this show with us and having these conversations with us. It means so much to us. And it's like I'm saying, it's the biggest sense of fulfillment we can have as our 15-year-old selves.
Thank you, Cody. Well, I think we're in the, we're similar brothers from another mother, that's just.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I didn't realize it was all in the van.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever.
No, we've never had this
linked all that together.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you were probably just like, oh, I got him. He's crying. I know this is a good part now.
Well, it means a lot, man. Thank you for saying that. A huge to play music and to have people feel that they feel my words, feel my music. That's a real deep connection. And I really admire you guys for continuing to be artists, to playing, believing with it, having me out. We're going to have a great gig. And I think we're keeping that flame alive for people, that it's a strong thing of inspiration when someone inspires us, and then how that can then be handed to someone else, or Dave, to the kids you're teaching. That energy that you're taking that's super heavy. And I guess that's this year, I think I'm thinking of the word sorcery a lot, because I love that you can kind of have that or work with that with others, where it's not as much something based on status or money or this or that. It's a real, it's an art form, a shared art form.
Hey, it's Zig.
And Coda.
You just heard a chunk from our conversation with Pete Francis off the latest Zig at the Gig podcast.
That's right, and you can hear the rest of the conversation and many more from the podcast wherever podcasts are available.
June 13th at the Winchester in Lakewood, Ohio, we are having a single release party featuring Pete Francis. He's coming all the way back to Cleveland for the first time in 10 years. We're going to open for Pete and be Pete's
backing band.
Ba-boom.
That's right. So we're going to release the new single and back Pete in playing his songs, and he's going to back us playing the new single during our set. And also on the bill we have
Broctopus from Pittsburgh, PA,
and Songs for an Unknown God from Cleveland, Ohio. We want to thank everyone from WRUW and Live from Cleveland for letting us take over the airwaves. We want to thank all the listeners for hanging out and listening to the interview chunks. We hope you enjoyed them. We hope you enjoyed the music. And without any further ado, for the first time ever, here's the debut of our brand new single, Long-Legged Fly, by Sea Level, live from Cleveland on WRUW 91.1 FM.
All right, I want to give Dave and Coda of Sea Level another huge shout out. Thank you both so much for taking over live from Cleveland tonight with a special encore presentation of Zig at the Gig made especially for us here at WRUW. At the bottom of the hour as well, I want to just give a quick shout out to some of the other places that you can find our Live from Cleveland crew, the Road Crew, sometime this summer. The first event that is going to be coming up in our long summer series of us being out on the road is going to be for the CMA, the Cleveland Museum of Art's Summer Solstice for 2025. We talked about this a little bit last week, but I wanted to give you some more details on this. That'll be happening Saturday, June 21st, and we're going to be starting our simulcast with their first performances at 7 o'clock. Right now, this is set to be happening at the South Terrace of the Cleveland Museum of Art building, and it is also, at this point, sold out. But if you join their email list on their website, tickets might be added closer to the event. If you can't afford the ticket, it is a little bit of a steep price. You can always listen on WRUW-FM for free. We're going to celebrate the music of some very, very great groups, including sets from Deland Brass Band, Balkan Paradise Orchestra, El Laberinto del Coco from Puerto Rico, and the Mexican Institute of Sound. It's going to be a vibe, one of Cleveland's favorite dance parties. It's going to take over the atrium and showcase DJs, sets from Sounds on Tape, Corey Grand and Kay Nice. Projections, light displays, and decorations will be all over the museum if you can make this one in person. Like I said, to sign up for more information about the summer solstice party, including get a notification if they add tickets, you can join their email list at clevelandart.org. We're also going to be at the Transformer Stages. That's going to be happening on 2 separate dates this year, also presented by the Cleveland Museum of Art. These take place at Transformer Station outside near Larder on West 29th. The first up is going to be on July 9th. Yisen Landero is going to be playing. These start at 7:30 p.m. We broadcast the whole thing from 7:30 to 9. So that's the first one on July 9th. And then we'll also be back on July 23rd for Las Caramba. And for more information about those performances, as well as a lot of different performances that the Cleveland Museum of Art is putting on for free and otherwise, you can look up clevelandart.org/what'son/performances. Thank you again to everybody who's tuned in tonight. What do we got on tap for next week? I'll let you know. Next week, you can tune in, same time, same place, here at 91.1 FM on your radio dial, on YouTube at youtube.com/WRUW-FM, or wherever you want to stream your radio on those nice little radio apps that they make. But same time, same place, 10 to 11 p.m. here on WRUW. We're going to have a straight up metal band next week. These guys go by the name Ignominious. It's definitely going to be a difficult one for me to say off the cuff next week, but they will be on the program next week talking about their brand new album that just came out in March of this year called 400 Million Tons of Flesh. From that album, real quick, we're going to listen to the track Sludge in the Blood to get you all ready for them to be on the program next week. They can be found online at Bandcamp, ignominious.bandcamp.com. That's spelled IGNOMINIOUS. They also are on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere that you can go for information about music that's coming up here around town. So without further ado, this is their song Sludge in the Blood here on Live from Cleveland.